Texas, overseas. I was in the medical field, and it was a great life and a great career. For whatever reason, my personality and my supervisors allowed me a lot of freedom, and I took full advantage of doing that. I enjoyed developing the next generation of both military, enlisted officer, and civilian leaders. That was really my job once I hit a certain rank, and I took it very seriously, and I loved doing it, enjoyed doing it. And every time I had a success, and one of my folks, whether they were picked up for a commissioning program to the officer corps, a nursing program, they wanted to go and fly, do something of that nature, and I was involved with that. I took a lot of joy and pride in that. I felt really good about it. And it led me into what I'm doing today, giving me a little bit more freedom than I had previously, because I could be ordered to my death at any point. Not many people work for that kind of a company, but Clarksville knows what that's about. So we moved here a few months ago. We're in Mount Juliet. Chose Tennessee as where we wanted our permanent change of station, because we were tired of moving. So here we are, and thank Laurie for putting these on and having these things for us to come and meet each other and talk to each other and learn more about each other. But what I want to talk to you today about is, I've been hearing this a lot from folks I've been working with and networking with, is that their business is running them instead of them running their business. And I hate to say this, but it's their fault. It's their fault for doing that. And it's because many times when we start a business, we don't start it from an entrepreneurial mindset. We start it from what we do, or the technician mindset that we'll call it. Whether, let's say I'm a cupcake baker. I make great cupcakes, I work for so-and-so. What am I doing? I can do this on my own. My family loves my cupcakes, my friend loves my cupcakes, so I'm gonna start my own cupcake company. So I do it, and I'm baking cupcakes. And then it grows and gets bigger, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So today we're going to talk about the 3 I's of the business owner. And if you don't mind, can we have this be spell check right here? Because sometimes some of those words just get too big for me. So there's 3 different I's that every business owner is supposed to have on and utilize all of them, but we don't always do that properly. So one I is the entrepreneur. This is one of those Then there's the manager. And then there's technician. So, looking at this, the entrepreneur, where should the entrepreneur's focus be? Should be on the future, looking to the future. So they should be looking that way. That's why they supposedly, hopefully got into business. They saw something, a vision that they wanted to achieve. They saw a problem they wanted to solve. They saw a need that needed to be met. So they should be forward thinking. Then we have the manager. What direction do you think the manager is typically looking?
Operations. Watching the business.
Watching the business, but where are they looking to watch that? Where are they getting their information from? What's that?
What's going on right now in the business.
And they're managing that, they're ordering, they're scheduling, but
They're in the present.
a lot of that information, though, they're getting by looking backwards at what has happened. All those graphs and the metrics. You know, that's that metrics person that's up there. This is where we were last quarter. This is where we are. This, that, and the other. And then the entrepreneur is, well, this is where I want to be next year or in 6 months. So this one's always looking backwards. They're dealing with today, but from a backwards perspective. And then this one down here, my eyes are terrible. This is the technician. Where's the technician? Yeah, here today. They're doing the day-to-day work to make things happen. They're making today's bread for tonight's dinner. So looking at these, and it's going to be hard because we have varied careers here, but let's say we're talking about an hourly rate, what someone makes. And let's talk about the technician. The technician whether it's in sales or in the restaurant business or what it is, what is the average hourly wage of a technician?
10, 12 bucks an hour.
10, 12?
Depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, how big a technician are you talking about? A bread baker, you know? I mean,
Yeah, it depends.
say maybe 15 an hour.
So can we say 15 an hour?
Sure. 15 works for me.
And that varies. How about managers? What do managers in a typical middle management position?
Not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough. Well, after December 1st, they'll be making $47,756
And 50 cents?
and 50 cents. That's right.
All right, so-
Actually, $913 a week, if that helps.
About an hour.
No, 40 hours would be about $23 an hour.
25.
But
We'll give them an extra.
But
bonus.
they're actually making less than the technician because they're salaried and they're working a lot more hours. So that's really very inaccurate. If you want to be accurate.
Yeah, and sometimes they get less benefits. So. How about an entrepreneur? What does an entrepreneur mean?
All the profits.
So as an entrepreneur, what would you like to see yourself making per hour?
$1,000 an hour. I'm realistic.
Some people will say maybe 100, but hey, you know what? If you're not looking at that, you're not
You told
going
me
to
to
make
look
it.
forward, right?
So $1,000 an hour would be great. You know, some people are making 100, but
You can
if
do
that's
100.
where they start, they go up. Now, here's a key question. How much time are most business owners spending down here at the technician
None.
level?
Very little.
You don't think so?
Business owners? No.
How about anybody
I don't
else
think so.
thinking? Let's say someone that owns a roofing company. How much time would they be spending at the technician level? Or
Depends
Well, it
on how
depends
good
on
their
if the
manager is.
contractors show up.
It depends on how good their manager is, really. I mean, a good entrepreneur would just sit home and rake in the money and.
a good entrepreneur.
Right.
But how about someone that owns a business that started it from this
They
level?
probably are the technician and the manager if they're the entrepreneur.
Exactly. So would you say someone that's been in business 4 or 5 years, running some type of business like that, whether it's a bakery or restaurant, a small restaurant, not something like a Logan's, something, how much time do you think they're spending? 50% of their time at the technician level, more or less?
At least.
Probably at
50%.
least, yeah, 40 to 50%, depending, the same thing on, like I'm thinking my dad being a custom home builder, you know, if his contractors didn't show up, he was out in the trenches doing the work.
And that's what it really always depends on is how good your people above you are. Below you are, I mean.
Exactly. And sometimes it depends on the culture that this person sets as well. Sometimes it's just nature of the business. In construction, you get what you get sometimes, depending on a job. But there are other times where you have great people that are working for you for 30 years. So it just depends on the nature of the business. So they could be spending 40, 50% of their time down there. How about as a manager? How much time are they spending in that area?
I'd say close to the same.
Percentage of time.
I'd say 40 to 50% there too.
Now, you start adding those up, it's almost coming to 100% sometimes.
Yep.
So, how much time is your average business owner spending here as an entrepreneur?
Very little. Maybe 10%.
That's a problem. Because if they're spending all their time down here, that's what they're making an hour. And they're doing all the work. And they're not able to start focusing on either what they focused on to begin with or where they want to go and be there. So, how do you get a business owner from doing this to doing this? So,
Having good people below you.
hiring the right people. Sometimes you might have to contract out your hiring because usually if If you're in construction, you started it from being a construction worker, you're not a hiring person. You don't necessarily know how to hire. You might hire people that are similar to you. And that could be really good or really bad. Can you imagine if you had 5 of you working on the job, what that might be like for you as the manager or owner. So hiring the right people. Going out and finding the right people to do those jobs. How do we get them to start focusing on that vision? And a lot of times it's simply by time management. Scheduling the time to do it. Think about what you do, and you don't have to say it out loud, but how much time do you spend in a week sitting down and thinking about the future of your business? Not next week, not next month, but the future of your business and really where you want it to go. It's kind of daunting when you think about it. We spend very little time doing it. It's probably less than 10% of the time. I've got a guy I'm working with right now. He's in a mortgage lender, and he keeps telling me my business is running me. Business is great for those people in that industry right now, but he doesn't have any time for himself. He's having to do a lot of the technician work as well, and that's what we're going to start talking about. I'm meeting with him after this, actually, is how do we get him back up to here? And it could be through hiring the right people, bringing in other people. How about delegating some stuff to the people that you already have? Because what we do as entrepreneurs or business owners a lot of time, what do? We hold on to everything because we don't think anyone else can do it as good as we can do it. And that may be true, but that's a flawed philosophy. We have to teach people to do it the way we want it done. Now there's a whole lot of things that go into that, but that's time, that's money, that's effort. Sometimes it's just easier to do it ourselves, but when you're doing it yourself, you're down here earning this kind of money when this is where you really want to be. And for some people it's not about money. It's easy to look at money and we all relate to that. That's common with everybody, but it could be time. If you're down here doing the work, you said that as a manager, you're probably working more than the technician. Well, if you're the manager and the technician, you're working a lot more than you planned on doing to begin with. So you're sacrificing those things you like to do. You're sacrificing time with your family. You're sacrificing the time on your business, maybe with your clients or whatnot, because you're down here doing too many of these things. So we have to look at how are we spending our time. When we are spending our time, are we spending time on high value tasks for us? Figuring out, what do I make the most money doing? I can do the $10, $15 an hour job, but isn't it smarter for me to pay somebody else $10 or $15 an hour to do it, so I can do the $100 or $1,000 an hour job? That's, as a business owner, where I want to be. And as a business coach, that's what I do with folks is to help them to get that stuff figured out, whether it be one-on-one coaching or in training of various aspects that I can offer. But it's about getting people on the right track, seeing the right place. Does that mean that the owner can never be the technician? No. Sometimes the best thing they can do is go and get their hands dirty with their folks. So they remember what it's about and what they're dealing with. And so people say, man, look at that guy, he's down here working too. He took the time to do this. They have to do the managerial stuff to an extent, but if you can hire a great manager, then you have to work with them. Another mistake people make is they hire someone to do all this for them, and they end up not in control of the business anymore. And I had a client that had that going on, and she just resolved that, saved herself $50,000 a year, and actually liked going back to her own business on a daily basis, where she wasn't liking it before. So when you go back, when you leave here today, I hope you're thinking about that as you go through your day, as you look at your schedule, as you're planning. Start thinking about what is the most important thing for me to do in my position. If I'm the owner, the entrepreneur, what makes my company the most money? What makes me the most money? What is it that only I can do that nobody else can do? And what can I give to other people to do? As you do that, you make them successful and you become successful. So remember the 3 I's of the business owner. And try to put time into the one that really matters as the owner entrepreneur. Any questions?